All right, so I'm going to make a sprite explosion. I've already started this. I made it 64 by 64, and I've centered it, and I'm going to go in and edit it and show you what I've been doing. Not too hard. I started off with a circle, and I'm just using the outline tool to add layers to it. Some of you guys are probably better at this than I am, but I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. So on this last one, I'm just going to highlight it, hit Edit Copy, Edit Paste. Obviously, you could do Control-C, Control-V. I'm going to go to the very last one, open it up, enlarge it. I'm going to choose just red for my last outside layer and say OK. I'm going to go to my circle tool and notice I've got it on outline only. It really doesn't matter what size, and I'm going to pull way up here in the corner. I'm going to make the biggest one I've got so far, and I'm going to put a circle around this last bit. I'm just going to switch over to my paint pour tool and pour in red, and there's the last part of my explosion. If you'll see, if I show preview, it doesn't look fantastic, but it does kind of look like an explosion. Again, some of you guys will do a better job than this than me. Notice we're going to have frame rate of 30 seconds, and I'll explain some of those things here in a moment. So now that we've got a sprite explosion, create object, we need an object explosion, obj underscore explosion. We'll just call it explode for right now, and we'll give it a sprite with sprite explode. We'll say OK. All right, so now when the dynamite hits the ground, we would like it to explode. So we're just going to go back into dynamite for a moment, and we're going to add an event. And this time we're going to add a collision event, and the collision event is going to be with object ground. So when I collide with object ground, let's grab a piece of paper and let's tell it what we're going to do. We're going to say dynamite explodes. And so two things we're going to do. We're going to instance create, and then x comma y comma obj underscore explode. Make sure you've spelled it right. It should come in red. And we're going to instance destroy. And since it knows, see this little button up here that says self? Self means it's going to destroy itself. So this is object dynamite. So it's just going to instance create this explosion, xy obj underscore explode, and it's going to instance destroy. So that's going to be pretty good. The last thing I want to do with object dynamite, while we're here just for a second, is I'm going to go add an event, and I'm going to add a step event. And I'm just going to add one thing in this step event with a piece of paper, and I'll show you what it does. I'm just going to say dynamite rotates. So image underscore angle is minus equal, let's just go 5 for right now. Oops, image underscore angle, got to get rid of that because it should be red. There we go. Image underscore angle minus equals 5. So this will make the dynamite rotate. Step function happens every 30th of a second because the frame rate is 30. So it'll subtract 5 from the image angle, which will make it rotate. And that's good for right now. Last but not least, and this is kind of interesting, I'm going to go to object explode. I'm going to do a create event. I'm going to add a piece of paper. The explosion I don't want to happen that fast. Image underscore speed equals, and let's just slow it down to about 30%, 0.3. And then last but not least, we probably haven't dealt with this before. We're going to add event, and this event is coming from the other menu, and it's called animation ends. So once it animates once, I want it to disappear. So all I do is, again, explosion destroys. We go in here and we say instance underscore destroy, and we close it up. So in theory, now, as we go back here and run the thing, the dynamite should rotate, and as it gets to the bottom, it should play that explosion animation one and only one time. So same as we had before, dynamite falls, there's the rotation, hits the ground, boom, explodes. Hits the ground, boom, explodes. We can make this a little bigger, we can make it a little smaller. If you guys want to make that explosion happen a little bigger, that's fine, we can do that. We can make the explosion happen a little slower. So I'll just show you to adjust here in a moment. So object explode, if we go to the create event, and I didn't even put in initialize, but one way to make it bigger is say image underscore x scale equals, let's just go 2, we'll just double it for right now, image underscore y scale equals 2, and we'll just double it for right now also. We'll also slow it down to say 20% of its original speed, and we'll just real check and see what happens when we play this guy this time. So again, that was in Object Explode. So we slowed it down and we made it bigger. We doubled its size when the dynamite hit. So the dynamite comes out, bam, hits, and we get an explosion of some sort, and that looks a little better. Okay. All right, so sometimes the explosion goes behind the ground, and that's interesting. That's something we have not dealt with whatsoever before, and I'll look at that real quick. If I go to Object Explode, anything with a smaller number goes in front. So if I actually turn Object Explode into -1, that has now increased its depth to the front of the page a little better. And so you can see now that when I run it, I want my explosion to stay in front of the ground, not behind the ground. Something we hadn't covered yet. And I'll let one happen, and hopefully we'll see the explosion. It'll stay in front of the ground. There we go. That's what we were looking for. That's enough for today. Thanks.